Factorio, one of the best man-made game of all time. And today I'm giving my honest opinion about the game. And I believe with that much hour played on the game, that my criticism is pretty much valid. But of course people have different opinions, so it's really just my opinion. And if you disagree, be sure to leave a comment under the video, that will really help me to understand your point of view. So Factorio's end goal is pretty much to launch a rocket in space and then you won the game basically. It's pretty much like Minecraft, where you have to beat the Ender Dragon to win the game. And like Minecraft, it's not mandatory to beat the game. You can play without launching a rocket completely fine. Sure, some achievement and research may be locked behind the rocket science. So now, I hope you understand the basics idea of Factorio. But, as in Minecraft, you are free to choose however you want to play the game. And I like Factorio for that, because it lets you play the game however you want. And in my opinion, the game is open to any kind of players. What I mean by that is, you can play the game in a very difficult way, or you can play the game in a very easy way. And the video that is actually playing, it's just me trying the game. I'm not like doing so much difficult stuff. I'm not going over like train signals too much and stuff like that. So the game in that sense is very easy. And this is me playing modded Factorio with mods that makes the game so much harder. Yeah, I kinda like to torture myself. So overall, there are so many ways to play Factorio. There is no one single playthrough that will be the same. All the playthrough will be different, that's just how it is. And with mods, it makes the game even more refreshing. But there are still some stuff that I don't really like about the game. And I will go over that very soon. So to understand that, we need to start anew, we need to start fresh. So the first steps in the game is to actually build a very crude but working production line for at least coal, copper and iron. So of course you don't start with very much. You have to craft manually pretty much everything you need to start off something. To speed things up, you can use blueprints, but there's a catch. In early game, you don't have any construction bots, so blueprints are pretty useless. However, they still serve some use. They can help you to see where you need to place things up. They can also set up filters and crafting recipes. So every early game are pretty much similar. You need to get coal, then you need to get iron and copper, and then craft some plates, then so you can craft more advanced stuff. And then you can start researching stuff. So at least you get crafters that will speed things up. That's my problem. I really hate early game because it's so annoying and frustrating. Since you cannot automate construction, you're stuck to place things by hand. If it's only a few things, that would be okay, but that's a lot of things actually. If you want to start doing right, sometimes you have to place down so much things and craft so much things. It drives me crazy. And the construction bot research is so far off in the research tree, it will take a long time to actually reach it, which makes the game, in my opinion, very slow to start. Once you reach construction bots and logistic bots, it makes the game so much faster. Like really so much faster, man. Thank God these things exist. So yeah, if you want to reach robotics, you actually need a substantial production facility to be able to research all those things pretty fast, or else you will be stuck waiting a lot. In conclusion, I wish the early game to be much faster and much diverse. This can be changed by adding very crude, inefficient construction bots, but early bots that you can research very early in game. And I don't think there is much ways to change early game without changing the game completely. Because if you take Minecraft as an example, you don't need to go netherite At first you can just explore the game, explore the structures and stuff. But Factorio doesn't have structures. They do have beaters and speeders. But the game isn't an exploration game. The game is an automation game. So adding structure, I think, not the best idea. And mid-game, I think, is pretty fine. There's not much things to say about. By the way, I consider mid-game to be once you research construction bots and that you have some. Because at that point, you are able to improve your factory so much that your production will go so much faster too. So at that point, you're just improving your factory so it can produce more of everything, and that you can start research stuff much faster. But I will say that replayability in Factorio is pretty poor. What I mean by that is that you can restart the game a lot, but after some point the game will start to be boring because it's not necessarily the same thing every time, because you can still have the choice to play the game however you want. But you have the same buildings, you have the same items, you have the same research that you have to do, and the end game being the same every time, which is launching a rocket into space, that after some points it gets boring. At least vanilla Factorio. But you can still challenge yourself to play the game in a certain way that makes it more difficult, like as I said before, speed running, or like you can forbid yourself from using inserters, or I don't know, belts, and only using trains, which is by the way possible. There are so many ways to make the game more spicy without any mods, but I can understand that vanilla Factorio, if you don't really like to challenge yourself much and just play the game, I would say quote unquote normally, after some point it can get boring. So once you launch your first rocket, you have reached the end game. Rockets give you space science, which can be used on research. And there aren't many research once you reach the end game. By that I mean there are a couple of new researchers, but every other researchers are endless. These researchers don't give new content, they only give minor bonuses to your factory in general, be it robot speed, or damages, or companions that you can have. And you need to know that these researchers, they cost more the more you research them. So after some time they will get incredibly expensive, so you'll need to improve your factory. So late game, there aren't many stuff to do. Sure, you can keep researching, but why? It doesn't really give that much improvement, doesn't give you new items nor buildings. So you're stuck just researching the same thing over and over. And since they cost, the more you research them, you have to improve your factory. And that thing, it's quite some work. It doesn't come like that. And the devs are cooking. I saw that they've planned a space expansion to the game that will probably comes as a DLC, so I will probably buy it because I love the game that much. Now let's talk about spitters and beaters. They are the indigenous people of Novice. They are also the main threat to your factory. Those enemies will also evolve through time, pollution, and how many nests you have destroyed during the game. And nests giving the most evolution percentage. The evolution percentage or evolution factor will dictate what kind of enemies the enemies can actually produce from the nest. The higher the evolution factor is, the more behemoths you'll see. Behemoths are the most durable unit in the game. They take a bit more mines, turrets to be killed, but they're still killable pretty easily. The footage that you can see right now is me playing in very difficult settings. I actually tried to put max on everything I could, and you still see that I can kill the waves without any problems. Although I will say that I have cheat activated. They don't give more like turret damage or anything, they just give me the possibility to craft anything without any cost. By that I mean that's something that you could do without cheats activated, so As you can see, no problems. Early game to mid game, you will have to expand your factory, but you have a small problem. Since you don't have artillery to kill enemy bases from a distance, you have to go there by yourself, which is actually sometimes pretty hard depending the nest size. And that's where my problem starts, in my opinion. Those enemies, they're not difficult in any ways, they're more like annoying bugs, right? And it actually takes some effort to take on the nest early game and mid game without any artillery. So in my opinion, I prefer to not have beaters at all in my game, just play at least in peaceful mode. But I found that sometimes in peaceful mode the enemy will still charge at you without you triggering them, so I don't really understand. So I prefer to not have them at all. And that's pretty much it, they don't serve any purpose in game yet. I think the devs could make so the beaters and spitters drops loot that can be useful to make new research and stuff, and or could make new enemy types that will make the enemy more diverse, so you have to adapt more, something in that direction. That will be the third time that I say in conclusion, but I need to close this subject, so let's do it. So in conclusion, beaters and spitters are more annoying than dangerous. They don't really serve any purpose yet in the game, except being annoying to you, to your expansion. And overall, I prefer to just disable them outright, because they just don't serve any purpose. Well, that's it. I don't have much to say more about the game. So for this honest review, I will give the game 9 out of 10. The game is really great. I will have been playing the game for nearly 2000 hours. As you saw, I had some issues with the game that I wanted to talk about. So that's why I can't give you a 10 out of 10. And I know that I said that the game was meant for any kind of players. In a way, I'm meaning my words, but still you have to like this kind of game, because it's not like for everyone. You have to understand that it takes some time to actually plan a factory, to expand your factory, to have the most productive one. And there's more advanced stuff like signals. You can do some pretty dope shit with it, but it takes some time, some understanding to actually make something out of it. And I'm pretty sure for someone who is new to the kind of game, Factorio can be a very difficult game to handle. So the game is really for players that have already played this kind of game. In my opinion, the price is totally worth it. But if you're still not sure, just download the demo, because there is one, so you can actually try the game without buying it, and if you're satisfied, then just buy the game. So I hope you liked the video. Sure, it's not like the other ones that I do, but I did want to give my honest opinion about the game, to show maybe potential players what's the problems with the game. And if you disagree with my opinions, with my points, be sure to tell me that in the comments, so I can see it and understand your point of view. Without it, I just can't do anything. And if you like the video, then just please subscribe, because apparently not many people watch me. I mean, my subscribers, right? A lot of people that are not subscribed watch my video, but not my subscriber. I don't really understand why, but that's just how it is. Please hang it there. I know that life may be difficult, but there is always people to care about you, even if it's just one person. So just don't give up.